When Skylanders Imaginators was first revealed, one of the first things you see, and one of the coolest things for a long-time Skylanders fans, was seeing the return of some iconic villains as full-scale Skylanders, and getting their own figures. While some of them, like the Golden Queen and Dr. Crankcase, turned out to be great, others could have been handled a little better, and the whole thing could have also been handled a lot better in retrospect. Things like random element swapping that don't make any sense whatsoever, and Chompy Mage's stupid-ass bazooka. Because of this, me and my homie Cloudbreaker reworked and improved the cast of returning villains and rectified many of the glaring flaws from the official version. We managed to include every battle class and every element among 10 villains from Trap Team, while swapping out certain characters with others to create the definitive possible villain cast from Imaginators. So without further ado, let's start off with the first element, the life element. Okay, stop. Here we have Chompy Mage, but this time we're cutting the bazooka crap. He's going to keep his staff, and this time he's going to become a sorcerer. Chompy Mage's showing in Imaginators has always been really lackluster to me. With his moveset seeming like super generic, it could be for any bazooka character, it feels like. This is a huge contrast to how he was in Trap Team, where he had a really fun and unique moveset. Being able to even transform into his classic giant Chompy form, an ability that was sorely missed in Imaginators. Overall, I believe that what we got from the Mage in Imaginators is a disgrace and a disappointment from the classic character. And as a sorcerer, his moves would just be a refinement of the Trap Team counterpart, retaining the Chompy summoning as well as the giant Chompy form with maybe a bit more of a sorcery primary attack. Anyway, with the correction of Chompy Mage's bullshit bazooka, we move on to the undead. You already know we're keeping Wolfgang. He's definitely the best undead villain of the series, and however, we're doing another battle class swap this time. While I don't personally dislike Bowslinger Wolfgang too much, it's still a bit of a departure from his more up-close and personal Trap Team attack scheme. So, as of right now, Wolfgang will show us his smashing skills, as his new Smasher battle class feels a lot more true to his original character. I mean, the Wolfgang boss, he literally almost gets a Marvel lawsuit as he yells, "Hop smash!" So I think he'd fit into his Smasher class fairly well if his Trap Team abilities were refined, same as Chompy Mage. Okay, now magic, it's a bit of a stretch, but you gotta stick with me here. Okay, Pinata is down, but wait, who stole that from him?
Nightshade.
Yeah, we're doing Nightshade for magic. This is the one element switch, and he's also the brawler of this roster. And while I'll admit I was one that was just whining about the element switches, I think that this can actually work with just some minor adjustments, and I think it can work well. He's a brawler because in Trap Team, his moveset reveals he's just very good with his hands, being able to pickpocket and stuff. His abilities in Trap Team were also just very unique and memorable, and I think he could fit perfectly into Magic if he just leaned a bit more into the magician aspect, which would go well with his already showmanship type personality. However though, Nightshade's design and personality may seem relatively bland. Anyway, I think he could see a redemption arc if he was brought back in Imaginators, turning a mid-wannabe Doom Raider into a mainstay Skylander. That is exactly how you treat a villain in Imaginators. Dr. Crankcase, absolutely nailed in Imaginators. Took what he had going on in Trap Team, streamlined it into a full moveset, and I'll admit, while the lightning hand shooty thing was pretty cool, it honestly was kind of random and not even that good. I think replacing it was a solid change. So overall, I must say, this is just perfect. No random ass weapons, he's actually the tech element. Great. No changes from the official. Okay, with water, I see a really good redemption arc here. Okay, let's lay down the scene. Once upon a time, the Gulper was a forgettable tutorial enemy that you never even actually fought and stopped using immediately after the 3rd level. But within that absolute buffoon, I see potential. The Gulper can be reborn as an actually good water villain and actually a water element villain. Wow, Graveclobber. But he will be the water villain and the knight of this villain cast. And knight may also seem random, but basically every way he used his trident in Trap Team, it could just be replicated with a longsword, so I think it works. And there's also potential for him to have some sort of massive transformation ability, not unlike the Golden Queen, because, you know, in the Soda Springs level and in the beginning of Trap Team, he just has, like, he gets really big. Anyway, moving on. In the fire element, we have the man that was by far done the dirtiest when being cut from Imaginators.
Chef Pepperjack.
Seriously though, who the hell thought goof-ass Hood Stickle was more qualified to be a sensei than Chef Pepperjack? For the Gulper the Dreamcatcher, there are very logical arguments to be made as to why they shouldn't be senseis. But whoever thought of a good reason against Chef Pepperjack, I really want to hear it. One of my personal favorite Doom Raiders, and oh, I don't know, actually a fire element. Yes, I'm still supremely salty about this today, because Chef Pepperjack would have been a savory addition to the villain cast, at least in my beautiful fantasy. He can be real. Anyway, Pepperjack would be a bazooker too, which I think could be cool. Like, imagine he throws in some raw eggs and he starts shooting out sunny side up at his enemies. Literally, he could cook them. There's so many possibilities here though. And plus, at the very least, he fits a hell of a lot better than crack-ass Chompy Mage's RPG. This is definitely the most important rectification of Imaginators' sins on this list. Now it's time to get rock hard with the Golden Queen, because she's the Earth element, of course, no other reason. However, the issue here comes with the fact that Chompy Mage was already a sorcerer, meaning Golden Queen has to be another battle class. So she will in fact be superseding Hoodsicle and being a sentinel. And this may seem a little bit odd at first, but I think it could actually work out just swell. If you actually look back at Trap Team, Golden Queen's main attack was already somewhat melee based, or at the very least close range when she does the little spin around. So she could get some sort of dual-sided ornate like ancient Egyptian staff, which I think could be awesome. And then she could do some sort of similar spin-up close-range attack as her primary with possible combos, and then honestly just keep the other two moves from Imaginators the same. They honestly did a great job with Golden Queen and Imaginators, and she's only moving to Sentinel just because there's a necessity to wipe that abomination of Bazooka Chompy Mage from existence. Okay, I feel like a bit of a broken record saying this for like the 3rd time, but in the air element, I see a much needed redemption arc once again. And now that I said that, you can probably guess we have
Dreamcatcher.
But the bombshell here is the fact that we actually put her in the ninja class, which I promise you makes so little sense that it actually makes a ton of sense. So you know the goofy little ninja Imaginators that have their random like heads as their entire torso and look like that for no reason because they restricted the body type? Well, you see where I'm going with this. Dreamcatcher is literally just a head herself, so she fits perfectly. Like, you can't make this shit up. As well, you could also get like little dream ninja star things and she could throw them with her hair, as well as giving her hair more emphasis in her figure so she could support that big ass head of hers. I do think this could be the biggest redemption though, because Gulper was boring, but at least he was decent enough to play as in Trap Team. Dreamcatcher's trap hole villain though was horrendous. She sucked worse than hand sanitizer up your nostril. But I see a bright future for her if they scrap the stupid annoying dialogue and give her a banger moveset. She could also maybe use like dream-based gaslighting to sort of mind control the enemies into like fighting each other. What I'm trying to say is there's a lot of potential here. And they could also just keep her one good move from Trap Team, which is like the big old black hole thingy. Either way, I think the potential is great here. In the darky element, we got the actually dark element character, Taekwondo Crow. And it's kind of funny, outside of Luminous and Nightshade, most light and dark tropical villains don't really fit their element at all. Likely because the devs wanted to throw players off track when trying to guess what the new secret elements were. Ironically though, one of the only actually fitting dark element guys was Taekwondo Crow. And then they literally just swapped his element in Imaginators. I do though think Hood Stickle fits the dark element more than the undead element, but he also just isn't even that interesting to begin with, so you can scrap him. Taekwondo Crow is going to be the swashbuckler and the dark element representative of this roster. Dual wielding probably like Kodachis, or basically like tiny katanas. I do think Mr. Bird could fit well in any duelist-esque martial arts type class, which there are a few of, but I think Swashbuckler could be pretty darn cool, like, especially considering how he wielded his sword in Trap Team with those awesome rapid slashes. Like, damn, imagine what Mr. Hawk Fungus could do if he had 2 swords, and he also just, I'm sorry, Taekwondo Crow just has that cool factor going on, man. Hopefully they keep him OP though, because in his official version, well, damn, let's just say a wise man named Ignite the Fire once said, "Dumb, stupid, broken." I'd assume you guys can guess what the light element's gonna be, unless you think I'm gonna give Blastertron a bow and arrow.
Luminous.
Yes sir, we have the well-cultured Luminous, who, while basic, definitely is more interesting than the Virgin Nightshade. I do think Bowslinger could actually fit him well. He could like shoot light arrows and have them bouncing all over the place, and he could drop down those massive like crystals that he did and have them refract the light arrows. He could be some sort of weirdly awesome amalgamation of Prism Break, Astro Blast, and maybe a little bit of Flame Slinger thrown in there. I mean, the speed of light, he should be pretty fast. That just reminded me. Aurora's mid. Anyway, I must say another thing though, he actually fits the light element. In all fairness though, that is a Trap Team idiocy problem, not really Imaginator's fault. But yes, for Luminous, I see a bright future. So, what do you think? That has to be like way better than the official one, right? That is such a good roster, man. Like, everything just kind of fits into place. But, oh yeah, this is just a conceptual video. And I'm still whiny over some decision made like 8 years ago. Yep, folks, as much as I think this roster would have been legitimately spectacular, shit didn't really pan out that way. Especially for a few of these guys, like, and for those who it did pan out for, some of them still got bazooked. Ugh. So with that said, no use dwelling on the past. We're stuck with the likes of Hood Stickle, Pinata, who honestly wasn't that bad, Wet Graveclobber, and the stupid mage who have already ragged on enough this video. Overall, it could have been worse though. At least we didn't get Slobber 2 Series 2. Thank you for watching the video, and let me know what you'd personally change in the comments. And if I see any Chompy Mage Bazooka defenders, you're getting banned from my channel. By the way, as I said at the beginning, me and Cloudbreaker actually got this roster by discussing it all in a Discord call, which I should have honestly recorded in retrospect. And he's going to have a video that we also collaborated on, where there's 2 villains per element in Imaginators, so go check that out whenever it drops on his channel. And it does make you think though, a lot of these problems were just caused by the battle classes having some sort of conflict, so what if the battle classes just weren't there? Seems like it'd make things a lot easier, but, you know, Imaginators doesn't really like doing what's easy. Actually, they do. In every other way, they like doing what's easy, but I guess not this way. Anyway, thank you for watching, and make sure